Hey Scott, I believe we are. Yeah, we're broadcasting. Go ahead. What were you talking about? You've
Oh,
got
okay.
you got your big
Well,
project going.
well, I'm still working on this. I think I was working on it last week. I don't think I'd started inking last week, had I?
No. Mm-mm.
No. It took me a couple days to get my rapidiographs clean. I took Monday off work and I let them soak Monday, and so Monday night I was ready to start inking. But so Ellis asked if I had a blueprint, and really this is what I'm working off of. It's a picture I took downtown. And you can see I'm following it kind of close, but I'm eyeballing it. There are a few areas where I'm definitely off, but I'm not too worried about that because I didn't lay out a real rigid. I drew live or did I ink? I think I drew live the other. I did a live Facebook live thing the other night. I thought I could post it to YouTube, but apparently I can't, which is frustrating because I thought I could post it on Facebook, do Facebook Live, and then download the video, but it's not letting me,
Hmm.
which is annoying because I for an hour I recorded and talked while I was drawing,
Do
and
you, do you still have
I'm sorry,
product for doing that? I mean, or did you lose it?
it's on my Facebook page, so if anybody
Okay.
wants to see it, they can see it. But I wanted to put it on YouTube because I'm kind of getting a little YouTube audience, and
Send me
so
the link. Send me the link to your YouTube page, and I'll use my software to download it and then send it to you. I'll zip it and send it to you.
no, it's on my Facebook page. You mean send you a
Yeah,
link to my Facebook page?
yeah, and then I can give you a
Oh, you know
copy of
what?
it.
I think I can do that.
Okay.
Maybe if I can't, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll do that. So in other news, I'm going out of town this week or next week. I got
What?
this weird. Oh, I got to go. They're having chaos at our plant in Illinois, and so I've got kind of this reputation for Scott's a guy that can fix problems. And so my boss just told me, "Hey, I want you to." I was in a meeting, and he goes, "Hey, you're going to. By the way, you're going to Princeton this week." Oh, great! And he said, "You don't have anything planned, do you?" Well, I was going to take my car to the shop next Wednesday to get the oil changed, but if I'm not driving it because I'm out of town, I don't need to worry about that, do I?
Yeah.
So, uh, and what's funny is he didn't really tell me what he wants me to do, and so then later we were talking about it, and then he told me what he wants me to do, and I said, well, yeah, that was what I was going to do. That's what
Hmm.
I mean, as soon as he told me I want you to go, I knew, and basically he wants me to go up there, figure out what's going on, figure out who's being difficult, and straighten them out. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you know, he and I don't. I probably shouldn't say that, but he told me he wants to put me over those guys up there. He wants me
Hmm.
basically over their department, and I don't know if I want to be. I don't know if I'm going to get a choice, but
Well, how much a bigger deal is the Illinois branch? Is it bigger or is it smaller or what is it?
it's smaller. But the department I'd be over, it would double the number of people I'm over,
Hmm. Oh
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it would be if I did this, this would be a huge deal because nobody manages two departments here and up there. I mean, and he told me he was like this trip, not even what I get out of it. He said the fact that the guy that's over their plant specifically said, "I want Scott to go with this group that's going up there."
Hmm.
Uh, is like it's a big deal, and he said this is a very good career. This trip is a very good career move for you, or this will be. And of course, the implication is if it goes well,
Money.
yeah. I mean, hopefully, ultimately, the problem is they're stingy, and and I don't know what this. I mean, would I have to go up there frequently?
Regularly. Yeah, all of a sudden you've got a salesman route or something like that.
Yeah, it's 12 hours away, dude, by car, which is how we're going.
That is how you're going? 12
Yeah.
by
So
car.
Monday I will spend all day in the car, and then Wednesday I will spend all day in a car. I'm not driving, but I don't think someone told me we may rotate. I'm like, I'm not driving. I'm not on their insurance.
It
I thought,
reminds me
well,
of the movie Prime Cut. They had to go out from, I believe it was Chicago. Yeah, it was Chicago gangsters, Lee Marvin.
oh yeah,
They have to travel to Kansas. And, nothing, no big trip.
that's the route we're taking.
Yeah. And, they're
I mean,
there in no
Princeton
time, but
is west of Chicago. Actually, we're going through St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Anyway,
No,
so I got that
ahead.
to look forward to. Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't mind going on the trip, except, I mean, here's the thing, though. It just puts all my other crap farther behind. I took off Monday. It took me all week to catch up. I'm just really busy. And I don't want to be one of those guys like, I can't get anything done because I'm busy. It's like everybody's busy. My old boss, I was talking to him today, and somebody's telling him they're busy, and he told me later, he goes, I hate when people say it. He goes, everybody's busy. And I go, yeah, you're right.
Well, and I
People
think
always ask me.
they've proven that busy people are the only people that ever get anything done.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, I guess it's weird. I told Michelle, I go, it's weird because I mean, like all for the last couple of days, like everyone at work, like I mean, like upper man. I'm like, I was in a VP's office today. It's the one of the vice presidents of the company. Our CFO was like, I want you to go up there. And there's not even, it's what's more unnerving, because I've been up there before, and they've always said, here's what I want you to do, and they've given, and this is like, you go up there and you do what needs to be done. And he gave me his cell number, which isn't private. I mean, anybody at my company can get his number, but he gave me his cell number, and he's like, if you have any problems, you call me. And I told him, I will not have problems, so don't worry about that. Because all I got to do is tell them, well, let me call Mark and see what Mark thinks, and they'll buckle.
Mm-hmm.
He's over the whole plant. No one's going to, So anyway, but it's just kind of weird. It's like this weird. It's this huge thing of responsibility where I have this. It's cool though. I kind of like it. When I was a kid, we had a neighbor, and he worked for, I think, at Western Electric, and it was like, what did he do? I mean, I'd ask, it'd be like, what does Paul do? And it'd be like, oh, Paul's a troubleshooter. And I didn't know what that meant, but I always thought that sounded cool. It sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, my dad did much like that kind of work on he was called an adjuster, and he had to be brought in when every elevator job always needed some sort of fine tuning, some sort of thing where somebody that actually understood, how to get the elevator up and running exactly the way it's supposed to run. And that required sending Dad in to do this and that.
Yeah, see, and so this is what it feels like, is like I'm suddenly, it's like, hey, we don't know what you're gonna. People have asked me, what are you gonna do up there? And I'm like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I've either told them I'm gonna yell at people, or I told them I don't know. But it's just kind of this weird thing. But I mean, that's okay. I mean, I don't mind. Like I told the guy on the phone today up there, I said, I'm coming up there to kind of, I want to look at everything and figure out how we can make things better for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to come up and cause trouble or anything, and I don't want to cause any trouble. This is so that everything runs smoother, and
mm-hmm.
I said, I don't know what I'll do, but I can promise you there'll be something we can do to make it work. It's not working now. I mean, they're like losing, or they sent me an email. They're like, oh, we lost the paperwork for this order, and now it's 8 weeks late, and it just popped up. It's like, well, how does that happen? That's unacceptable. Whatever the
Well,
system.
that's one of those things where there's probably somebody that you've probably got a whole lot of "not my job" kind of attitude that around there. That's like not my job, and they let stuff fall through the cracks when they know they could have, done a little something here and there and kept a crisis from happening.
Well, and we had an issue where we cut a die for them. We cut 3 dies for them, and we sent them up there, and they went to 2 different teams to produce pretty much identical dies. It was charms, little charms. Mm-hmm. And one of them, the one team was like, these are perfect. The one team was like, these won't work. So the guys told me this, and I go, okay, so what happens when they say this won't work? And he said, well, they brought it to me, and I took it to this other person, and then so he took it to his boss, who went to the salesperson, who went to the plant manager. And I go, wait a minute, the plant manager's your quality control person? Isn't he too busy for that?
Yeah. Yeah. When there's people that are getting busy at stuff that should have, well, that could be one of the problems. Maybe this guy doesn't delegate. You never know.
Well, and I think that's one problem is I think there's 2 layers of managers that need to be more assertive and need to say, look, well, here's what they don't have. At my work, if that had happened in my work, the response would have been, well, let's make one and finish it and see how it comes out, because they made one and it worked. It was fine. Once they finished it, they were worried that it wouldn't polish right. Well, once they polished it, it looked great. It looked as good as the other one. There was no problem with it. But so I'm not. People need to pull the brake when there's a problem, but we also need to be willing to try stuff. To work where you have these big banners that say "can do," and the whole thing was, men solve problems, make stuff work.
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't have that.
Have you ever read the book "The Power of Habit"? How several people that have been successes, basically the secret to all the successes are figuring out that people just like to do, stuff with sets of rules that they can become habituated into doing it. And if you can figure out how to structure those habits, whether you're a football player where you're told this is how we run this pattern, and I want you to run it like a robot. I don't want you acting all one-man team on me and doing it. Oh, by the way, Wim says hi. Hello.
Oh, hey, Wim.
And so, it's a pretty good book for just in general trying to master yourself. Yeah. What's that?
Sounds dead on with like what I've observed with human behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, and there's a guy up there, somebody quit. And so he wanted to be the crew leader. And so my thing is like, well, if you're going to be the crew leader, and I'm going to talk, and I told him, I said, I said, I'm probably going to follow you around all day and you'll get tired of me. I said, but I want to talk. And my thing is going to be, why did you want to be the crew leader? And then my other thing is going to be, is it something you believe in? What are you doing? Or is it just something where you thought you'd like further your career, or are you really doing this to make your employees' jobs better? Because if it's just to further your career, you're going to have to work at it harder. But if he wants to, if he can convince his employees and be sincere that he wants them to have better jobs and better and and I'm gonna talk to his people. I'm gonna talk to the art department up there, and I'm gonna ask them what stresses you out about your work the most. What is your day to day challenge? And if he can eliminate that, however it is,
Mm-hmm.
then they'll buy in. Maybe this is what I'll tell him, that he needs to figure out what that. Ask him, what don't you like about your job? And if then some people say, well, I don't like coming to work. Well, that's part of it. You got to deal with that. But it's like, okay, and I do that with my people. What don't you like? Let's figure out how can we make your job easier. And if you do that for people, then what happens is, like, they'll manage themselves. You give them the tools, and you don't have to, you set it up and you just kind of oversee it, and you don't have to check on everything, because they know what to do. And that's what he needs to get to there. But anyway, hey, you want to hear a cool story?
Yeah, let's hear it.
How many people are watching?
One.
Can you tell?
I can't tell.
Wimp.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Well, the only person that's here. Okay.
That's cool. So my comic book, Heaven's Rejects, is out, right? And Dave, our friend David Nelson, is in New York at New York Comic Con, right? He sent me a picture of them selling the comic at Midtown Comics in downtown New York City, which I thought was really cool, because I go in there every time I go to New York. I go in there and I'm like, I want to have a comic for sale. I mean, to me, that something like that is big time.
Yeah.
That's not, I got my comics on consignment at the neighbors at my local comic shop, or these guys ordered for me. But that is like, like somebody told me, if you can make it here, you make it anywhere.
Right.
So I posted that on Tumblr or Twitter and Instagram, that picture, and like, oh, hey, my comics for sale. Now, here's what I haven't told people. I'm not putting this on social media, and it will become apparent why. So I sent a picture, the picture Dave sent. I kind of cropped it so you could see where Heaven's Rejects was. But it was, you didn't have to look for it. It was kind of front and center.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent that to C.B. Cebulski, who is the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics. Now, I have his cell number, so I sent him a text. I texted it to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, my comic, I said, I forget exactly that word. Basically, I was like, my comic is for sale in Midtown Comics. I said, I think that's pretty awesome. And he sent me a little icon of a thumbs up. And so I sent him a text back, or a reply, and I said, I would love to send you a copy. And he said, it's in my box. It's in my box, pulled already. So he said, there's a pull, or how do you work? It basically said his local shop has pulled him a copy already. He just
Excellent.
box.
Well, yeah, you would have kept him notified that it's coming, and it's there, and he.
I sent him the diamond link, and I was like, dude, that's awesome. I said, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It really means a lot to me. And it really does. And I know, and this is why I'm not putting it on social media or anywhere, because one, it's kind of a personal thing, and I don't want to be like, hey, C.B. Cebulski bought my comic. People occasionally will put, oh, this guy liked my comic or liked my art or whatever. And I mean, that's cool. I'm not hating on those people, but I mean, CB and I are friends, which I think is why he bought the comic.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't want it to be seen as, oh, this is cool because now you're going to break into Marvel, or you know what I'm saying? I don't want it to come off as braggadocio. I just want it to be like, I mean, I think it's cool because this guy, forget about whether, because I have no illusions about he's going to be like, oh, this is awesome. Now I want you to draw Spider-Man. But I think it's cool just because he's a friend of mine who's very busy and sees a lot of comic books, but he still bought my comic book. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like a, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a job at Marvel, because that's what people would immediately be. You
Well,
know, they would go to that aspect. And I don't think it's cool because of that aspect. It's cool because it's like, this is a friend of mine I've known for a long time, probably close to 20 years, and he's very busy, and he has no reason to have to buy this comic, but he did, you know, and I think that's cool.
That's very cool.
You know.
No, and he'll probably give you feedback on it. You know,
He might. You know, if he does, that's great. I just think it's cool. I mean, I just appreciate him support. It's weird. He's been very supportive, but and I tell people that, and they go, well, why isn't he giving you a job? And I go, well, you know, they just hadn't. I mean, that's, you know, it's doesn't mean that, you know, he doesn't support me. It just, whatever. I haven't drawn anything that struck him as like, this is what we need at Marvel, you know, or whatever. And, you know, I mean, good grief, like nowadays, I was talking to somebody about it, somebody at work that reads comics, and I was kind of telling them about it because they know who C.B. Cebulski is, and they thought it was pretty cool. And, you know, they were like, well, if he said, hey, I want you to draw this, I said, I couldn't take the pay cut that Marvel. I mean, I hate to be a dick, but I mean, I make more than the Marvel artist would make. So I'd have to do it on the side, which would be, you know, of course you can see how fast of an inker I am. So that's a joke.
Well, that's the deal. That would become, you would have to focus so hard on being a comic book artist if you got an assignment that amounted to being a once a month kind of job. Oh my God, that's all those people do, and they're so absorbed in it. You know, I've seen people that had that kind of deadline pressure, and they don't have a life. Believe me, they have to be doing their comics all the time if they're going to stay employed at it. Because you can flake. Obviously, these pay Kickstarter kind of projects, you can blow those off indefinitely. Apparently,
Yeah.
Unless I guess you get somebody that comes for your head. I don't know, but yeah, you don't have to actually produce those.
Oh, yeah.
It says it right there in the agreement. It's like, you know, you might get this, you might not, but you know that going in. And and you can say, hey, give me my money back. And I guess in most cases, you probably could really raise a stink if they wouldn't give you your money back if they didn't produce anything. But I don't know. Might not have to.
I don't know what the deal. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is on that, but well, I think, well, first off, Marvel gives you 6 weeks to draw a comic. I think I could do that. I couldn't do it and ink it. There'd be no way, but I think I could pencil a comic. But I don't know what the quality would be like. I mean, I think I could part-time pencil a comic in 6 weeks.
Most people don't have the discipline to finish a long sequential art project like that. It's tough. I mean, it's just, there's nothing tougher because of that demand. It's like, okay, even if I do a panel every 5 minutes, it's still going to amount to a 60-hour week. You know, you can do the math. You can sit there and say, man, look how much time I've got in front of me on what it's going to take to get this done.
You think about this too much. That's your
well, problem. No, that's why all these things fail. That are or most of them fail. It seems like, unless you've already got it done. Doug goes into these projects with the things pretty much thumbnailed and everything like that, and gets them done. But other people, you know, it seems like to me most of them fall flat.
It is funny how many people are just impressed that I've done 4 issues of a comic.
Yes, I am very impressed with it.
I mean, it's like, oh, well, what's crazy is I've been done for like 2 years.
Especially with the promise level that you had for it. You didn't have much of a promise of anything,
No,
and you did it anyway.
I had a publisher that I trust look me in the eye and tell me, yeah. He looked at the first issue and he said, yeah, I'll publish this. Now that was nothing in writing,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, that's people saying, what? Did he just say nothing in writing? And that's the deal. You are doing something that most people probably couldn't have stuck with unless they felt like they were almost obligated. It was in writing somewhere and they had to do it.
Oh, but I loved every minute of it is my thing. I mean, that's the thing is, man, I mean, even though I put out 4 comics, only one of them has actually hit the stands. I feel like I've had a career in comics from all the comics I've drawn that never got published. I mean, I worked for 3 or 4 years with this company called Greyhaven doing anthology stories. You know, I probably
I remember some of those. Yeah,
a dozen anthologies. I mean, it wasn't a lot of. It was probably all total. It's probably less than 100 pages. But you know, and some of it got put out. I don't even know what got put out, to be honest with you. But I mean, I know some of which did, and some of it was terrible. I'll be the first one to admit it. Was working digitally, which I don't like.
Yeah, that was an early thing of yours that I remember that you were pretty excited about it. You had a tool, and it really was cramping your style, but you were kind of determined to make it work. And
I was never happy with any. What's funny is I think about it now. I think maybe I should try it again. Maybe I would.
Oh, well, the only way to try it again is with do iPad and do Procreate, and you'll love it. You'll never go back.
Yeah, I doubt it.
No,
I stare at a screen all day is part of my problem, and I like penciling and that's the thing. I mean, if I could find a gig, and they wouldn't have to pay me that much. I shouldn't say that out loud. They wouldn't have to pay me. If somebody came along and said, "Hey, Scott, we want to do a comic, and we want to do kind of a superhero-y comic. Doesn't have to be straight up superhero, but I mean, superhero would be great. We want to do a superhero comic, and we got an idea. It's going to be kind of fun, and we can pay you $50 a page for pencils, and we want to put it out bi-monthly, and we want you to get however many done, and we'll start doing. I mean, dude, I'd be all over that.
Yeah, I would dig a Charlton kind of comic experience where I was just cranking a simplistic looking, fun little story all the time. Not and it getting just that early kind of like I associate with Blue Beetle and some of those Charlton comics, Sarge Steel, that kind of stuff, where they really weren't. It wasn't a team stuff that was being done for Charlton, but it was fun.
Well, I mean, I look back,
but it had a team artist on it. I mean,
Here's what I miss. If I have a time machine, I go do whatever. I would love to be like, and I've heard John Byrne talk about this is what he aspired to.
He was a Charlton guy, yeah.
Well, I would like to. He was always like, I want to be at Marvel. He said, I want to be the guy that draws like Iron Man, like a B. And everybody thinks about Iron Man now as this big movie star, but Iron Man was always a B team guy until the movies came out.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I get his appeal because the right artist, the right team, instantly turn something into a hit. If they're just the right chemistry, that happens.
Yep. Oh, look at X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh yeah, that Claremont stuff and Byrne and he.
Cockrum, yeah. Yeah, but I mean that something like that, which I don't know if that even exists in comics. I mean, not like I imagine it wouldn't exist, but that, you think about like, people living in Manhattan and or maybe Brooklyn, and they do these
Mm-hmm.
comics, and
The How to Murder Your Wife lifestyle. Somebody living in a brownstone that they totally own every bit of it, and he does comics. Hey,
oh, really? I didn't
yeah.
know that. I've never. What is that, a Netflix series?
No, How to Murder Your Wife is an old
Oh.
whatchamacallit, Jack Lemmon movie, and it's pretty hilarious, pretty funny. A guy is it's got some moments in it. Anyway, I wanted to show this off. You talked about maybe getting this book when you were at the library the other day. This is 1929, 1930, believe it or not, and they're the first year of Ripley, his cartoons, and it's got a lot of history on it, and it shows a lot of how he did it. And I was looking at it, and I just happened to turn to a page that's a perfect illustration of it. His style, I think, was, when you were talking about when he came out, when he was working, everybody would have been seeing him. And I think he probably set a lot of people on fire with how to do things. Because this to me is totally, it's both Milton Caniff and Jack Kirby. It's got these striations that are just duplicated for the sake of the energy of where he wants to point you up at that nest and stuff. And he shows that he does work from obviously photos every now and then to get a good likeness, but he's got a great looking. Yeah, here's one where he's working from a likeness of a guy that can pop his eyes out of his head, and he obviously gets a likeness. So anyway, that's a great book. I already own this book, which covers about three of those.
Front cover. Oh, Ripley's Big Book.
Ripley's Big Book, believe it or not. But this thing dates. This is it's basically about to fall to dust, and it dates to that time. Well, let's see exactly when it's published. I say that, of course, this was the 8th printing, probably came out in 1934.
Oh, geez.
So
that predates you.
Oh, yeah. This is 20 years older than me. So,
where'd you get that book? I mean, was it
eBay. But the reason I got it is I used to be left in Arkansas for pretty much the summer vacation, at least a month's worth of it. And I used to live with and I would stay with Granny. And she had this Ripley's book. And I could start on it and read it and go to the end and start on it again. I just love this book. Oh, this one here. This has always been a kind of a funny story in the family that someone ran across this illustration was so powerful.
Is that Shrunken Head, or what is that?
It's a double-eyed man. Basically, he's got the makings of two eyes, the pupil on the one white, and it's doubled. Well, that scared...
like a double yolk egg.
Yeah. That scared my brother so bad he cried. And so we always used to try to, have that bookmark so we could show it to him again.
I say that, but I guarantee your stuff.
That's cruel. That's cruel. Oops, better switch past that one. Had somebody in Africa with big plates in their lips. Got to watch this stuff.
It's funny. It's funny you have that because one of my good friends growing up, he's passed away now. A friend of mine and Dave's, his name's Kevin, and Kevin always, we'd go to his house. Kevin was His parents pretty much bought him whatever he wanted. So he always had the latest Nintendo Atari thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to his house, and he lived 2 doors down from my grandma. So I was over there quite a bit. He was always reading the Guinness Book of World Records. Now it's not illustrated. He wasn't an artist, but and it was kind of like you. He'd flip through the whole thing, get to the end, and flip through it again. You know.
Sure. I've done that on my Psychotronic encyclopedia film. It takes you so long to read all of it. Yeah. Why not start over again?
Yeah.
I forgot about that part. Talk about forgetting about parts. I was, Prime has all the Bond movies.
Oh yeah.
I cannot believe I was actually wanting to watch the one with Batista. Oh, which one is that?
Is that Spectre?
Spectre. Damn, can't believe I couldn't think of that. And so I was watching it and I realized I've seen this. I've seen every bit of it, but there was so much of it that I couldn't remember that I started on it thinking, all right, this is pretty good. And of course I realized that the first of it, I remembered all that part in Mexico where knocks the building down. But I thought to myself, you know what? They probably had a big preview of this on YouTube, and I probably saw it that way. And then, followed by stuff I didn't remember quite as well. So I kept hoping it would be a brand new experience, but then I realized, no, I've seen it.
Alas.
Yeah, alas.
I don't know if I've told you, but that's my wife's thing is always, it's like, I don't know why anybody will watch a movie that I've already seen. I'm like, well, because most times I can't remember it.
Well, yeah, no, I enjoyed rewatching it. It was good.
I like Spectre.
Yeah, Spectre's, I think, probably one of the better ones. The whole concept of fighting your brother, that was pretty cool. I like that. I think that's probably one of the best villains ever thought up for him. Just to realize you're dealing with your brother and you're as ready to kill him as you are Dr. No. Like, matter of fact, you can't wait to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a brother you like.
Well, no. I wouldn't kill my brother, and he doesn't kill his brother at the end. Spoiler alert.
No. But,
he was ready to.
Yeah.
Double lot. But then the other one, I realize I've seen the end of it, of course. When he has the missile come for him, he self-sacrifices. That's some kind of movie that sticks with you a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen it most recently.
I think I'm over James Bond.
Oh, I am too. Yeah.
I grew up watching James Bond, and I love James Bond, and I read the books as a kid, and I would reread the books again. I have no problem with the books, but if they put out another movie, me as a guaranteed audience member, like in the past, is not happening.
Yeah, the casting and all that goes on.
Depends on the
the money's there. They'll experiment. They'll find somebody to put in it, and all the fans will have the immediate reaction. Who is this guy? You can't have a blonde be Bond, or whatever. Like that was some of the reaction to Craig.
Yeah. What? He wasn't my favorite Bond either. Even though I think what they did great with Daniel Craig, and I think it was an accident, or it initially, was if you watch all the, 5 or 6 movies.
5.
It makes a nice arc.
Yeah. I guess from day one, they knew where they were going with the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it works. Whether it was intentional or not, it works. And I think that's the model they should follow for other Bonds. But I think, I'll be honest with you, about the only thing that could get me in the theater to see a Bond movie at this point is if they said, we're going to set it in 1957. If they did a, of course, I've always said they can't have Bond because there's no Cold War, and now we're at war with Russia again. So for practically,
you gotta, go back to reducing the tech and stuff. It makes it more interesting.
Oh,
to have it be a period piece.
I want to see them. I want to see. There's a bit in, I think it's Moonraker, where he races. There's some guys in Alfa Romero that he's racing around, and I mean, this is all like 50s kind of cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a book called what's it called? James Bond. I forget, but anyway, it's only about the books. It doesn't have anything. In every book, there's a chapter for every Ian Fleming book, and it talks about the cars, and it has maps, and I mean it's a detail. It's almost like a Cliff Notes and it is so cool. And then you bring back some of those old cars and the old, but I mean, and you're right. Dial the tech back, and
let Quentin Tarantino do it for his last movie.
No.
I got this book from an interlibrary loan, and it's that other thing wasn't
Tales of a Rascal, Robert Blake.
What I Did for Love, and I got it because Norm Macdonald was gigging his friend Fred Stoller because he said, "I'm sorry, Fred, I didn't read your book. It looks good. I tell you why, though. It's because and then he holds this book up and says, it's because I was reading this book. And I have this feeling that your book may be great, and it might be as good as this book, but I really doubt it." And he talks about how, wow, we lit up Laurel Canyon. It's about Natalie Wood. Yeah. I mean, this guy's going to have some great anecdotes about stuff. Look at all this stuff. He was a rascal. Oh, he's going to talk about.
Oh, is that all the women in there?
Elizabeth. Yeah, I guess. I mean, Mickey Rooney. And, yeah. Ava Gardner's first leading man. I don't know if he's going to claim to have been intimate with all these women, but he's met a lot of people and been friends with them.
There you go.
Who the fuck is Elvis Presley?
What?
That's one of the headlines. There she is. He was a rock solid friend. Good old Steve McQueen.
Oh, yeah.
And, take it to the bank, he says. So it's going to be written in his voice. This looks really, really cool.
How long do you have the interlibrary loan? Is it 2 weeks?
I think they go on for 3 weeks. I'm not sure. It may be only 2 weeks. Yeah, I can check it out. I can do that right now on another tab here. I'll do it.
I was just curious how long, because didn't you tell me you had 4 of them checked out?
Yeah, I'll show you the others. And they're dense.
Me with Overdrive.
Yeah, you get a little over your head here. This is called Books Are Made Out of Books, and it's really deep. And I've dived into it. I'm on page 63, and I love Cormac McCarthy, and this is going to be talking about Blood Meridian and Suttree, and it got quite a bit on Suttree. And it'll have almost as much or more on Blood Meridian. So if I read both of those, I'll have read most of the book. So that's a very cool book. And then this one, I misidentified what the purpose of this. They Came from Outer Space by the director Wynorski. This is the original short stories that the movies are based on.
I've seen that book on Amazon, and somewhere. So I'm in a group called 50 Science Fiction, and somebody linked that.
Mm-hmm.
and I found it, and then I lost it, and I was like, "What's the name of that book?"
Yeah,
You'll have to let me
they
know.
came from outer space, and I'd like to read the original short story for The Fly and The Seventh Victim
Yeah.
and the Racer, which apparently they did Death Race 2000. And of course, at the end of it, I could pass on this because I can always read this sometime. The Boy and His Dog is in here again, and it's like it's not a very long story. I could read it again.
Uh,
Uh,
I
the Foghorn, which is the beast from
have the
Twenty
beast from
Thousand
20,000.
Fathoms.
Yeah.
Who goes there? It's got
Oh, the thing.
the thing. Yeah, which I remember reading, but I could stand to reread it. I bet you.
That sounds that yeah, I need to yeah. And I think when I looked, it was kind of an expensive book, so don't lose it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I've only agreed though to pay $10 if I lose it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. They wouldn't give me that Michael Malice book unless I gave them a big guarantee on it. So,
Oh, is that how it works? You have to guarantee it?
well, I think the deal is if a book can disappear for a guaranteed huge bucks on eBay, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
that could practically make a living like that, getting
Yeah.
stuff out of the system. Of course, they wouldn't. They'd stop lending this stuff to you. I hope eventually, if you did that to them. See, I said I had four. Did I just? I had one, two,
Pretty
three.
lost one. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So I've been reading those shadow pulps I bought,
yeah.
and I made a database, like a spreadsheet of all the ones I have and all the ones that are available, which is everything. And I emailed the guy that told me, "Oh yeah, email me, and I can send you whatever you need." And dude, I emailed him and said, I think I have maybe like a dozen, and there's 151 books. So basically, I emailed him and said, "I want to buy 139 books from you." And I said, "You let me know what the best way to do this is. I can buy them as fast or as slow as you're comfortable, just however you want to." So basically, I just told the guy, "Hey, I'm willing to give you about $2,000 right now."
Wow.
And
I'd let them stream in a little slower than that. I don't know. I'd want to make sure I was getting my books.
well, but no, no, no.
Henning.
I want to get them as soon as possible. What if this guy passes away before I get them all, Ellis?
Yeah.
If
I remember sending to Captain Company for when I don't know how old I was. I'm so old now that I realize I've done so many stupid things when I was an age where there was no excuse to do it. I've got no idea what age I was when I did this. But I sent somebody cash, the Captain Company, for all those very collectible Hal Foster Prince Valiant books that the Captain
yeah.
and oh man, I don't think anybody's ever touched the layout that work that they did for that version of the they've come out with bigger images and all that, but the great layout that turned them into books. They were really spot illustrations the way they cut up the panels and stuff, and that was a great way to read it. And I think those things were meant to be spot illustrations. They were done so neat.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't heard from the guy yet. That's the crazy thing. I mean, it's like, dude,
Yeah, you think you'd get right on it? Oh, I got a live one
here.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping he lives in Texas. I'm hoping he's like has a road trip and he's like, "I'll just bring him to your house, dude."
There you go.
That'd be perfect. I figured out they will fit in Golden Age bags, and they will take. I believe, if my calculations are correct, they will fit on either 4 or 5 foot of shelf space. So that's not a huge amount. Not that I have a ton of shelf space free in my house, but I'll probably buy some comic book short boxes and put them in that. I don't know if it'd be 2 or 3, but and I mean I'm fired up. I've been reading them.
Hand him a thumb drive and say, "This is known as Bitcoin," and then take your product in the house with you and say,
No, I'll pay him. I don't have a problem. I mean, here's the thing. I've been a fan of the Shadow since I was a kid. Dave is a big Doc Savage guy, and and I have a bunch of the Doc Savage books, but the only reason I have them is because they were available. I've always thought the Shadow was a far superior product, and I loved. I grew up listening to them. I didn't have a lot of them. When I growing up, I had 2 paperbacks, and I had bought something that probably had 3 cassettes with probably a radio show on either side, so probably 6 radio shows. And but I would, yeah, I'm ready. I don't know how long it'll take me to read them all, but I figure, I'll if I get them all, someday I'm gonna be retired, and I'll read them. I can read them then. They're quick. They're fairly quick reads.
It's interesting to think about what becomes a success, because obviously, they want to sell you paper. There's nothing better for making money than having people buy paper from you for the book publishing industry. And that attempt to make Robert E. Howard a big thing again, the attempt to keep Edgar Rice Burroughs current, all from that pulp era, even though,
yeah,
obviously, Edgar Rice Burroughs was bigger than pulp, but
but Robert
E. Howard wasn't, and there was nothing that said that attempt at re-releasing Conan was going to work. And I think the main thing that happened on that, of course, was Frazetta. Yeah. And it's like, oh my, what is this? And the same thing for why the Shadow may not have been as big as a re-release item. Maybe the fact that it just didn't light anybody's fire on the cover art stuff. I don't remember who they had, but I bet he wasn't as good as McGinnis or Bama.
Steranko did some of them.
Yeah, there you go. Steranko did a couple of Shadows.
I think I think they had some weird publishing, some rights issues. Well, for one thing is there were more Shadow books than Doc Savage, and like the Shadow stuff was put out by a couple different publishers. It was Pyramid, then it was Jove, and I don't know if that was I don't know if it was the same publisher or different names, but I mean it just didn't get a wide circulation, and they never did all of them. They only did a handful of them.
Yeah,
but I mean, the opportunity to collect all of them, I think, is pretty cool. And I check my email constantly, hoping that dude emails me back.
Well, is there anything piratey about his organization or not? Or he might be going slow with you or something like that.
No. He's got the rights to reprint them. I mean, it's
okay.
I mean. I think what it is he just is not, because I asked if he had a website, and he said no. He said he had a website, but it was costing him $500 a year, and it's like he doesn't want to sell them. It's really weird. You think he would try? You think he'd list them on Amazon, but they're not on Amazon. Not new, at least.
Well, are you going to be buying stuff that will never be? They're basically out of print, and they're going to stay that way, right?
No. The books are in print. I mean, he's keeping them.
He is continuing to print.
Yeah, these are reprints of old pulps.
Mm-hmm.
So he's reprinted them all.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Is he still in that business of paying printers?
Oh yeah, he has them all. He told me.
I'm still not getting my point over. Will he have an assignment next week for a printer with these things, or is he content with his inventory?
Oh, that I don't know.
Okay.
he acted like he had them all in stock.
Okay.
But I don't know. And that's my thing is I don't. In fact, I told in my email I said I don't know if there's any you don't have. Let me know, and I'll look for them on the secondary market. But I would rather buy them all from you. You know.
Mm-hmm. I naturally draw people with bell bottoms. I'm saying bring bell bottoms back. It changes the shape of your little bird legs into a pleasing bell shape.
No. No, I'm saying no to bell bottoms.
Let's get it started tonight. Let's bring back bell bottoms.
No.
God, I wore some sad fashion when I was a kid. What did I know? I didn't know any better. I still don't know any better. I'm not a fashion plate. I can't help it. You are. You like good clothes, and you know what looks good. You like to shop a little bit.
I do a little bit, but well, like I told somebody, it's like I've discovered that if you buy an expensive shirt, it's much more comfortable than a cheap shirt.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That'll be your favorite shirt because it's built well and feels good on you, on your skin.
Yeah, and it's weird. Some of that stuff fits better. I can't explain that one.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, I think it's just the matter of
Material.
What the dummy was when they put the fabric around it, whatever the manufacturing process was. Was it a real dummy, or was it a guessing kind of dummy? It's like
a fake dummy.
Yeah.
I watched a show it was on Amazon Prime called Made in America, and it was about this guy that wanted to be a fashion designer. And his thing was he wanted to make jeans, like blue jeans, which is kind of weird, but he was doing some kind of deal with somebody to buy. He was buying like imported leather jackets and selling them. And he got to talking to this guy, and in the truck, the guy had this denim that was supposedly like this great old school vintage kind of denim, like you can't get anymore or something. And so the guy ended up buying that denim. It was a bunch of denim, and his idea was he'd make jeans out of it and sell them, for hundreds of dollars a pair. And it was kind of an interesting show. No, it was kind of weird, and so it was your typical, we start off and we're plucky and we have a good idea and we make all this money kind of thing. But it was interesting because it kind of devolved into into a little bit into, I would think, behind the scenes in fashion, and not that I care about fashion, but I thought it was kind of it was an interesting show, and they were in New York and it was filmed in New York, and that kind of appealed, and
You're saying that about documentary makes me. I'm trying to remember.
No, it's a drama. It's a drama. It's not a documentary.
Oh, okay.
It was a TV drama, but about,
okay.
But
because there's one on GameStop about
really?
that time where they basically figured out that these cheaters basically that are they sell stuff short and expect it to stay that way until right when they want it to not be that way, and that sort of thing. And these guys figured it out and put the screws to them. And all of a sudden, it's like we learned that there is such a thing as too big to fail, that the in crowd just doesn't let that happen to themselves. And, I want to see all about that so I can be angry, I guess. I don't know why I want to be angry, but I guess I do. You watch stuff like that. Of course, The Big Short didn't make me angry. I found that was done in a fascinating way, and it made that guy with the that was on the spectrum there that figured it all out, and everybody else rode on his coattails. He saw it coming. He did the math, and he took all the big chances on gambling against the inevitable fall of the real estate market, the bubble. Oh, what's his name? But he was he was well played by old Christian Bale, and it was something to watch. And of course, it was directed by the guy that does all the Will Ferrell goofy movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's got that kind of edge to it of we could be goofy at any moment, but we're not going to be.
Gotcha.
I was watching a little bit of Lemony Snicket the other night with Jim Carrey. That's pretty funny. Have you seen any of that?
Nope, hadn't seen it. Is it good?
Oh, it's pretty funny. It's well done. It's got great production design and all that, and the kids are funny. And it's probably based on it's probably pretty close to the source material. They got two kids that are basically geniuses, and then they got one little kid we don't know what she'll turn into, but right now her talent is biting.
No, geez.
She's just like having a little pair of wire cutters around.
Oh,
she'll bite anything in two.
Bite anything in half that you need to.
If you're playing Yahtzee, she'll be biting the little cubes in half and stuff like that. They showed him playing with a set of, is it Yahtzee I'm thinking of, where you make words.
Yep, and, I believe that's Yahtzee.
Yahtzee, and every little cube has got a little piece bitten off of it. It would take some confidence in your teeth to bite through one of those things.
My wife is always biting stuff.
Oh, doesn't it bug you? It's like, hey, you're going to break your tooth.
Oh, she chipped one of her. She had perfect teeth, and she chipped right between her front teeth, just a little bit. You just barely see it. But it drove her crazy. I mean, she went and got it fixed, and then that came out, and I'm like,
yeah.
And in fact, the dentist repaired it for nothing because he felt bad because he knows her teeth are perfect, and she'll bite. Hey, I'm biting. I'm like, God, I got a knife, man. What Yeah, don't ruin your teeth.
Yeah, don't. We'll find a way to open that beer bottle.
Well, she's not opening beer.
Slow down.
She's not opening beer bottles. It's mostly like those wire price things. Not the wire, but the plastic price. With the price gun. Anyway, well, Ellis, I made a little progress tonight.
Excellent. Did a little inking.
Yeah.
Oh, we've been at it an hour. I did a couple little half-ass drawings. I was working. I don't know. It was fun. It was good. It warmed me up. I need to decide whether or not I'm going to do Inktober in another couple of days. I got one penciled, but I never followed through and inked it. So this next couple of days will tell the tale. If I do a couple of quick roughs, I'll go ahead and do Inktober. But
Inktober's already started.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay.
I could be doing it every day. Well, yeah, but you can always catch up. You can do Inktober, October 30th if you feel like it.
I put anytime I do an ink drawing and put it on Instagram, I'll tag it Inktober. I don't care what month it is.
There we go.
October spawned out of fashion because that guy was accused of plagiarizing Jeff Parker.
Oh, really?
Jake Parker. Jeff Parker.
Hey, we didn't mention Kim Jong-un dying today.
Yeah,
dying a couple of days ago.
Was it Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, it was it was probably the 5th. However long ago that was.
Well, you're not on Facebook. Dave posted a picture of, because he was on his way to New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
And Dave posted a picture of his table that had flowers on it, that just kind of a sign or something. And gone up and signed it and put more. I mean, it's funny because his whole thing he was like the weirdest thing, because he was almost like he had his thing he did, but he didn't really do any comics or anything. I mean, he did those drawings, which were pretty amazing, and almost like a live drawing thing. And then he'd do his sketchbooks which were incredibly expensive. I've got
Mm-hmm.
a couple of them, and they're $100 a piece.
Yeah.
But he didn't. It's weird. Just from him going to shows and doing stuff on YouTube and putting his sketchbooks out, he became super popular. And Dave raves about him, and I
Mm-hmm.
think he's pretty good, but he's not. But I don't know if I'd want to see. I mean, I know he did like some covers for Marvel, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. And he has done some comics in Korea, but I never really cared for his comic stuff. But super talented guy.
Oh yeah.
You know, and he was 40. I didn't realize he was 47. I thought he looked a lot older than that. I think because he was bald, but he's 47. I guess he was at the airport in Paris. I don't know if he was flying from Paris or traveling through, and he started having chest pains. And I don't know if they even got into a hospital, but he died from
Mm-hmm.
heart attack. You know,
Well, they did surgery on him, so he must have been still
did they?
hanging in there. Yeah, they apparently did a little bit of surgery trying to clear it up. That's weird, though. I mean, when you get someone all the way in, you get them on a table. I expect results, but
I mean, you got that one vein in your heart. If it goes, you're dead.
yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm going for my annual physical tomorrow.
Well, hope that goes well.
Yeah.
Have him keep an eye out for anomalies. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I will.
Okay. Well, you ready to quit?
Yeah, let's wrap it up, man.
Okay. In broadcast. Thanks everybody for showing up. Hey, Wim. See you later.